This is CBC Vancouver News.
And at this early stage, there have been no established links to extortions.
More gun violence in Surrey. A young woman is left critically injured after a home is riddled with bullets. And
we were surprised. We had shared a few days previously that we were ready to increase to meet demand.
BC's Police Academy insists it can meet the province's recruitment needs following criticism amid a growing officer shortage. Plus,
I always wanted to see cricket in Canada and finally it's here.
I'm extremely excited. I love cricket.
cricket fever takes over BC Place for the first ever Canada Super 60 tournament. Hello, I'm Janella Hamilton. Thanks for joining us. A young woman was critically injured after multiple shots were fired into a home in Surrey's Whalley neighborhood overnight. Police now say they're looking into whether the shooting is linked to an increasing number of extortion-related crimes in BC.
Early indication is that a vehicle pulled up, and we don't know if an individual or individuals got out of the vehicle, but shots were fired either from the vehicle or by occupants of the vehicle, and then that vehicle drove away.
The shooting happened around 2:45 this morning in the 13,000 block of 103A Avenue. Houghton says there were several other people inside the home at the time, but no one else was injured. He says the woman, who is in her mid-20s, remains in hospital in critical condition. Last week, police said there have been 56 reported extortion-related cases and 31 connected shootings in the city this year. In Vancouver, police are on the lookout for a suspect they believe is responsible for a series of random attacks that left several people injured. As Caroline Bargout shows us, the problem isn't new and the public fear is growing.
In surveillance video released by Vancouver police, a woman walking down the street approaches a stranger, then extends her left arm to make contact with them. Police say this was one of 7 random attacks allegedly committed by this suspect at roughly 7:30 Friday morning along the busy Vancouver seawall. 4 people were stabbed, 3 others assaulted.
They appear to be completely random, they appear to be completely unprovoked, and they're violent in nature. So as long as this person is at large, there is a risk to the public.
That leaves many feeling uneasy.
Like, it's kind of creepy how someone could do that.
I mean, the fact that that happened in the morning is like, I would never expect that.
People expect to be just kind of starting their day. They don't expect to have to defend or fight off something like that.
This is the latest in a string of violent and random assaults in the city. Just over a year ago, a man was killed in a random attack while another man had his hand severed by the same stranger. 2 months later, a man was attacked by a stranger and knocked to the ground. Then this past April, a Toronto woman posted on social media about being attacked in Stanley Park.
You're hurt, this sucks, you're bleeding, but like, get up because you're gonna die.
Downtown safety was the main focus of the annual convention of the Union of BC Municipalities last month. And the reason the advocacy group Save Our Streets was formed 2 years ago.
Well, 53% of British Columbians, not just Lower Mainland, but British Columbians are fearful for the safety of their families in their own communities. I mean, that's really pretty incredible.
Unless the province does a better job of tackling mental health and addiction, he says these disturbing incidents will continue.
Vancouver police say 1 or 2 people are randomly assaulted in this city every day. That's actually down from the pandemic, when the count was 4 to 5 a day. Caroline Bargout, CBC News, Vancouver.
Following criticism from Vancouver Police and its board last week, the Justice Institute of BC is doubling down, saying it is prepared to train and provide more police recruits to keep up with demand. As Keir Junos reports, it comes amid a growing officer shortage.
The Justice Institute of BC says it's ready to train more police recruits after the school was criticized last week by the Vancouver Police Board for not having enough seats to meet the need for officers.
We were surprised. We had shared a few days previously that we were ready to increase to meet demand. We had not received feedback from VPD on that at the moment.
On Friday, the chair of the VPD Police Board pointed fingers at the Justice Institute for its part in a growing officer shortage.
We are down by dozens and dozens of officers. This has been something that has been in discussions with the Justice Institute for, in fact, many months and many years now, and we are at a breaking point.
A CBC News investigation last week uncovered a 50% rise in overtime costs by the VPD over the past 2 years, something Police Chief Steve Rice says could be reduced with more officers.
To reduce overtime, you need officers, and to get officers, you need to train them. So we've got officers, recruits in the pipeline ready to go into a class.
The province says it has earmarked $4 million to expand the police academy at JIBC by 50%, increasing yearly training capacity from 192 officers to 288. But some local leaders say it's not enough, and one councillor in Surrey is calling for an academy in her city.
We're going to need a lot more seats at the JI to be able to accommodate the growing police force to support the growing population.
The Vancouver Police also wants an academy of its own, with Chief Rice saying in a statement to CBC, the added capacity to JIBC is a step in the right direction, but still falls short of what the VPD needs. But the Justice Institute says a decentralized approach to police training would weaken policing standards.
JIBC is committed to the centralized model of a police academy. We feel that BC's needs are best met in terms of oversight, in terms of common standards.
Venert adds the Institute is pushing to expand its class size even further by next spring. Keir Juno, CBC News, New Westminster.
The Loaves and Fishes Food Bank in Nanaimo says despite a pledge of federal funding last December, the food bank has yet to see that money. And as Claire Palmer explains, the lack of funding could put plans to open a new warehouse on hold.
The Loaves and Fishes Food Bank moves over $12 million worth of food through this warehouse in Nanaimo every year, distributing food to over 40 communities on BC's coast. And Executive Director Peter Sinclair says they can do more.
And we're actually not able to accept all of the food that is out there. So what that means is people in need are not getting as much food as they could because we don't have the infrastructure we need.
Sinclair says they're working on building a new warehouse in Nanaimo on Wellington Road that would quadruple their capacity to sort food. It's set to open in 2026. Sinclair says they've seen contributions from the municipal and provincial governments, but they're still waiting on $5 million in federal funding to come through, which was promised almost a year ago. In the meantime, they've taken out a loan to keep the project on track.
I can tell you right now, with the drop in donations that we have experienced this year, having a $30,000 a month mortgage will mean we will have to cut the programs that put food into people's hands. And so we're hopeful that the federal government will honor the commitment that they made and do the right thing and make sure we get the funding we need to make sure people across the BC coast have the food they need.
Nanaimo Ladysmith MP Tamara Cronus raised the question in Ottawa last month, asking for a timeline on when the funding is expected.
What we want to do is simply make sure that the funding is confirmed, make sure that the contribution agreement is signed as soon as possible, and make sure that the funding flows in time for Loaves and Fishes to finish this really important project.
However, in response to an inquiry posted by Cronus on the funding, the Ministry of Housing and Infrastructure says while the proposed funding was in the government's December 2024 fall economic statement, there was no contribution agreement with Loaves and Fishes.
And so I see firsthand on a regular basis how much this organization contributes to the community and how important it is to individuals, to families, to immigrants who have been, not provided with the kind of things that they need to be able to thrive in our community. This is a vital organization. The money has to flow. It is, it's really important.
Sinclair says he is hopeful the funding will come through before the end of the year. But either way, they plan to open their doors to the community in 2026. Claire Palmer, CBC News, Nanaimo.
A Vancouver area 2S LGBTQIA+ group is fundraising for a new community center. The aim to raise $3.2 million to support a 13,000 square foot facility at the corner of Davie and Burrard. Community says the safe space has never been needed more, with a rise in homophobic rhetoric on both sides of the border.
It hurts. It really does hurt to log on and see people that you don't even know, wish that you did not exist. It's a weight that you carry throughout your day. And this is a way for our allies and our supporters and donors to actually make a change and allow us to sort of combat that hate become too normalized over the last few years.
Kaushal says the 2S LGBTQIA+ community center will be one of the largest in Canada. The money will be split between the physical building itself and expanding services. Those services include peer support groups, employment and mental health services, and a legal center. About 100 people marched in Chase today to mark the return of spawning salmon to BC's interior. And as Jennifer Norwell reports, it comes amid growing conservation concerns.
For the past decade, people from around the interior of BC have gathered to celebrate the return of salmon to the region through color and art. People with vibrant signs, costumes, and regalia walk the streets of the village of Chase, near where the South Thompson River meets Little Shuswap Lake.
It's our primary source of protein for many Indigenous nations across the province, and they're also cultural and ecological keystones.
Beyond celebration, there's worry.
We're seeing record low numbers come back in the last couple of decades, and so we're very concerned about that.
For Larissa Denault, she wanted to bring her 2 children to the event.
It's so important for them to be a part of the celebration of our culture that gives honor to our sacred salmon. So for them to be witness to the celebration, to the songs, to the dances, and it's just so important for them to grow up in that pride of the culture.
While others hope that it will mean the preservation of the salmon so many rely on.
We're all in this together, and we're all trying to, make sure that everything survives.
Salmon continue to spawn in the rivers and streams of the interior, with some runs continuing into mid-November. Jennifer Norwell, CBC News, Chase.
From taxidermy and handcrafted jewelry to all things weird and unusual, the Oddities and Curiosities Expo took over the Vancouver Convention Centre this weekend. Take a look.
This is our first time in Vancouver, but we started in 2017, so we're just now starting to get, kind of make our way into doing some Canadian shows. The first show in Vancouver was way bigger than we ever thought it would be, so I'm really excited to come back and keep growing it.
We create the art. Most of the things we have here are all handmade, hand-stitched.
Shrunken heads, voodoo dolls, anything that's creepy and macabre, I've always loved it. It's funny because my mom was always horrified when I was young, and now she says, oh, I always supported this, but she was always creeped out by my love for like creepy things, skulls, and especially scary movies. I love scary movies.
Okay. I paint things that I really like. I'm a big fan of cats. I have love cats tattooed on my fingers for a reason, so I paint a lot of black cats, a lot of like dark birds, just really things that I find enjoyable to look at and that I enjoy seeing. And I do a lot of skulls and bones and teeth, and that's really, I just like the texture of them. I like everything that I can put into them.
The Oddities and Curiosities Expo is for lovers of the strange and unusual. We host vendors from all over the world with all things weird. So people are coming today to see all things strange and unusual here with us.
But here at Dr. Pig and Circus, we celebrate messes.
We also have performers on stage, so you can see classic sideshow stunts like someone swallowing a sword, walking on glass, doing all kinds of like crazy sideshow stunts.
Still ahead, Vancouver hosts the first ever Canada Super 60 tournament, and cricket fans are ecstatic. That's next. Stay with us. It was cricket mania in Vancouver this weekend as thousands of fans packed into BC Place to see international and local players at the first ever Canada Super 60 tournament. As Tanushi Bhatnagar reports, organizers say it's an important step for cricket in Canada to grow the sport even further.
I was so excited to come see this. I quit my job and I was like, I'm going to come to Canada just to enjoy the cricket, and it's the best decision I've ever made.
We were just super excited to see that it's finally here, and that too in BC Place.
I always wanted to see cricket in Canada, and finally it's here.
First ball, a little bit of swing from Joshi, first up.
Cricket has arrived in BC. Thousands of fans came out this week to see Canadian teams at the Super 60 cricket tournament. On the pitch playing together, international and domestic cricketers.
The direction was pretty good. Is he out? Oh yes, that's a beauty.
There's a massive South Asian community here that love cricket, and they probably don't get the opportunity to see overseas cricketers that they see on TV.
The women's final took place Saturday. Toronto taking the trophy home against Vancouver.
I'm really pleased, and it's an honor to be here to come and showcase my talent and to help these other young girls to develop their own as well.
Every match tested us to our limits, like both the teams, and this match delivered exactly what a final should be like.
The men's final is slated for Monday. The final fixture yet to be determined.
Oh, that's a terrific shot. That's gone.
Some professional cricket matches can last for days, but in this tournament, they're shorter. Only 90 minutes.
What we're trying to achieve is very much like what the rugby has done in this exact same stadium by taking the longer format of the game and reducing it like rugby sevens.
It's a sport that's growing in popularity in Canada. Some players say Canadian cricket could find a home from coast to coast and on a global stage.
If you have GT20 in Brampton and you have this in BC Place every year, I think that's a great mix.
I think it was much needed. We knew we had talent here, but this platform just shows the world what Canada has.
The inaugural Canada Super 60 included 2 women's and 6 men's teams, topped off with concerts and performances on game days. Organizers say they hope to make the tournament an annual event.
I mean, imagine where this tournament could be in 5 years.
I'm extremely excited. I love cricket.
Tanushi Bhatnagar, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, it was a disappointing start for the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. They came up short in Game 1 of the American League Championship against the Seattle Mariners. But as Thomas Diagla explains, it's a best-of-7 series.
Fans, your 2025 turn.
Call it a deep blue sea of fans. 44,000 primed for their Canadian team to win the American League pennant.
How far do you think the Jays can go? Of course, they can get the World Series.
This is pretty exciting because I was his age the last time they won the World Series.
Let's go, Blue Jays!
Baseball's not always a Thanksgiving tradition,
Go Jays, go!
but so far in the playoffs, the Blue Jays are cooking.
Seattle's good, but the Jays are better. I'd say Jays in 6.
Toronto now hosting West Coast rivals with their own Canadian fan base. Some even daring to wear Mariners green this far from Seattle.
Seize the moment, baby. Let's go, Ems!
What's your message to fans in British Columbia who might have a soft spot for the Mariners?
Fans in British Columbia, I hope, are Blue Jay fans before they're Seattle fans. I think we feel that. I think we feel that when we do travel there too. So I guess my message is try to get some tickets and meet us out there.
And how about this for the first pitch thrown to the Jays? George Springer hits it out of the park and sending fans dancing downtown.
George Springer starting off the ALCS with a bang.
6th inning, and Seattle's Cal Raleigh responds, delivering his own homer.
It's the big dumper when the Mariners need him most.
And tying up the game. The Mariners would take the lead.
And the Mariners have the lead.
And never look back.
3-1, the final for the Seattle Mariners here at Rogers Center. Listen to these stats. The Jays got exactly 2 hits. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who was so hot in the American League Division Series, crushing the Yankees, he got no hits, 0 for 4. But it is a best-of-7. You need 4 wins to advance to the World Series. Game 2 goes here in Toronto Monday evening.
Gobble, gobble. When we return, we meet a Kamloops turkey and her brood of baby chickens. That's next.
I'm Stephen Quinn, and I love living here in Vancouver, BC. It's a city with world-renowned beauty, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In our new daily podcast, This is Vancouver, we're exploring the diverse range of issues and stories in this city, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as told by the people who live it every day. Don't miss This is Vancouver, available wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll talk to you soon.
Many families across the country are celebrating Thanksgiving this weekend with dinner tables laden with fall fare. But at least one turkey in Kamloops is safe from the carving knife. And as Shelley Joyce reports, there may have been some foul play involved.
Jackie McGregor has a menagerie of different pets and animals on this Kamloops hobby farm. But Jenny the Henny is front and center this Thanksgiving weekend.
This is Jenny the Henny. She is our female turkey who has adopted 7 chickens.
Sadly for Jenny, it got so hot in Kamloops this summer that none of her eggs hatched. So she was left despondent with no clutch of eggs to sit on.
We've had Jenny for a couple years. She hatched here on the farm. She went broody for the first time this summer.
What does broody mean?
It basically means that Jenny was preparing to be a mama turkey, that she was laying a clutch of eggs herself, and she was preparing to sit on them to hatch turkey poults in the summer.
Jenny started to steal chicken eggs from other birds on the farm, hoping to adopt. That hatched an idea that got the McGregor family cracking. They teamed up with a local school, hatching chicks in the classroom, and borrowed some little peepers for Jenny to nurture.
At 1 o'clock in the morning, we snuck into the coop while Jenny was sleeping, and my very brave husband, Tyler, took on the job of swapping the chicken eggs for the chicks. And as soon as she heard them peeping, she became delighted. She started cooing and fluffing her feathers that her purpose had been realized, and she was so excited that her babies had arrived.
This coming weekend, people all over BC will be celebrating the Thanksgiving weekend with a turkey on the table. But you could say Jenny will be safe from the roasting pan.
When the plan for Jenny wasn't looking ideal, we had entertained the thought of having her invited to our Thanksgiving dinner, but these chicks have saved her from the Thanksgiving table.
Oh, there's the babies coming out.
Jenny will probably go on to hatch another clutch of eggs. Hopefully it will be more successful for her next year, but she will produce more turkeys for us next year. She's so happy that she is just in her element. She is cooing after her babies and just fussing over them as any new mom would.
Shelley Joyce, CBC News, Kamloops.
What a good mom Jenny the Henny is. That is your late news for Sunday, October 12th. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. And to all of those who are celebrating, happy Thanksgiving.